You might be wanting to consider investing in Turkey. You want to buy property here, but you're still not sure at this point. You still have those last minute doubts that you're feeling within yourself. What if something goes wrong? What if someone comes and scams you? This is human nature. We all think like this. It's normal. But what if you had someone you could trust? What if someone literally holds your hands, takes you through each and every step when involved in buying a property? What if someone does that for you? Would that make you feel secure? Would that make you feel comfortable? Would that make you feel risk-free? Of course, right? So this is what I'm going to do for you. I'm going to stick with you through this video, take you through each and every step simultaneously, and may explain everything to you so that it registers in your mind. So you don't need to trust anyone else other than yourself. You should feel that confident after knowing this information. Now let me share my story with you. 2 years back in 2019, I came to Istanbul. I was making some research. I wanted to come and explore the area, see how it is, see if it's suitable for me, and then take my decision to invest. However, the pandemic kicked in, I got stuck, and there was quarantine. But anyways, once everything normalized in 2021, I made my first investment. I invested a sum of $30,000 in a studio apartment here in an area called Adashir. And now in 2023, the price of that property is literally double. The valuation is around $62,000 or $68,000, somewhere between that. I'm sharing this with you because I don't want you to go through the same struggles and problems that I faced. Because trust me, the language barrier issue out here is not easy to cope with. So if you're going to come here as a first timer and try to do things by yourself, it's definitely going to hit a wall. Coming to the video, I have my sheet open. So step by step, we're going to go through this process and I'm going to explain everything to you. Coming to point number 1, registering your tax number in Turkey. First things first, you need to have a Turkish mobile number. So when you step foot in the country, either go to Vodafone, Turkcell or Turk Telecom, buy a SIM card, and then use that SIM card when registering your tax number. Once you do that, you have to visit the official website of to apply the tax ID. As you can see, I've mentioned the link in the PDF and also attached a screenshot. So in the screenshot, you can see you would have 6 boxes in front of you, and on the lower line in the middle, you have to click on that, the non-citizens potential tax number. Once you've done that, it will give you a form. You need to fill in that form, put in your mobile number, submit that form, and then you will get your tax ID. Point number 2, opening a bank account in Turkey. Now to open a bank account, you need your tax ID. So you're going to have your tax ID, you're going to have your mobile number. You can either go to HSBC Bank or Turkey Finance. These 2 banks, I've had experience with them. So they can open your bank account just by your passport and your tax ID. Property expertise report, point number 3. So this report states the valuation of the property. Okay. Now you need this report before you make an agreement with the seller. Let's say you have shortlisted some properties and now finally you're going to select one. Now for property which you've selected, you need to make an expertise report for that property. Maybe your seller also has an expertise report which he recently made. You need to submit a copy of your passport, a copy of this current title deed for the property, and the address of the property. Once you do that, it will take typically 2 to 3 days for the report to complete and come in hand. Okay. I've also mentioned the details that will be there in the report so you can see it for yourself. Buyer-seller agreement, point number 4. Once the expert report is issued, it's now time to make your agreement with the seller. State your terms and conditions, tell them what you expect from them, and also you have to discuss transfer fee tax with them, because normally the transfer fee tax is 4% and usually it should be divided 2% by seller, 2% by buyer. That you need to discuss this with your seller. Coming to one of the most important points, registration of your title deed or tapu. We say tapu in Turkish. Now documents required to obtain the tapu, you can see I have listed it, all of them for your information, so you can have a look at that. Seller has to take the required documents, go to the registration office, okay, and then he has to submit these documents along with his phone number, because on the phone number he's going to get an SMS, which is called Harj message, where it's going to state the date and time of the appointment for you to come to the tapu office. Once he receives the SMS, he's going to receive the application number and also the tax fee that needs to be paid. Now the tax fee depends between your agreement. You can go to any of the government banks, Ziraat Bank, Waqif, Al Bank, and take your application number, pay the stated fees, and then take a receipt for that payment. Now, process of transfer and ownership of tapu to the buyer. Make sure you take a translator during this process. You have to go to the registration office. Translator is with you. He's going to have to be there. You can't take any local person who's your friend, who's your buddy. That's not allowed. You can't do that because he's not an authorized translator. So you go to the TAPO office in the morning before 12 p.m. You show them the message and submit your payment receipt. And then you have to wait for the officials to call you. During the waiting period, you have to make the transfer of the payment. Yani, you have to make the payment for the property to the seller. This payment has to be made in liras, not in dollars. And once you do it, which is through your bank application, when you transfer the money to the seller, you need to keep that receipt ready with you. You can send that receipt to the seller also. The officer then calls you and he starts your verification and transfer process. All details will be shared to the buyer and the seller. He will also speak with your translator and tell them to give you some necessary details required during that point of time. You will also ask the seller whether you have made the payment to him for the property and if he has the receipt. So this is really important. Once all the particulars are discussed and confirmed, they will print the new TAPO in your name. Now, breakdown of the title deed. I have attached the title deed here just for you to understand, and it's been divided into 4 sections A, B, C, D. So you can go through it to get an understanding of what is included inside a TAPO and how a TAPO looks like. Now, the types of title deeds or TAPOs, there are 2 types. To keep it as simple as possible, there is the red TAPO and there is the blue TAPO. The red TAPO is divided into 2, which is Kart pitfalls. The first one, floor-reason title deed. Basically, this title deed indicates that you have invested in a project which is still under construction and you have the right over the land on where the project is being built. So the developer is going to give you this title deed, Kart pitfalls, which will then be transferred and changed into Kart mulkiyat, which is the complete ownership. That happens only once the construction is completed, everything is in order. So the second one now is complete ownership title deed, which is Kart mulkiyat. Normally, if you go and buy a property which is already ready from a seller, you directly get this type of title deed. So these are the 2 types of red TAPOs. Now coming to the blue one, the blue title deed indicates that you have bought a land somewhere and it indicates that you are the registered owner of that particular land. So the blue TAPO is for that. So basically there was a guy from India who came in 2021 to buy a property here in Istanbul, and he got all his life savings just to buy this one house. Now, he told me that when he went to buy a house in the European side, there was a guy who made him buy a house but gave him the blue TAPO. That doesn't make sense because he's bought a flat, he should be getting a red TAPO. So he didn't know that at that point. But once he spoke with one of his consultants and that consultant explained to him that this is the situation, this is what has happened with you, you've been scammed, he was in a big shock. So I'm telling this to you so that you know that things like this happen out here. And this information is for you so that you can distinguish between the 2 TAPOs, the red and the blue, for yourself, so that further in the future, you don't have to trust anyone else except for yourself. You know what you need to do, you know what you need to choose. Number 6, extras. The first one is DAP certificate, foreign exchange purchase certificate, which is also called DOVIS LMPSC. You need this certificate before you're going to purchase your property. This certificate indicates legal proof that you have got funds from your home country to Turkey legally and you have changed this money legally to liras. Usually people use it during their citizenship investment process because they need to show the certificate to sum up $400,000 and then apply for the citizenship. Normally, even just to buy a house, let's say $75,000 investment in Istanbul, because you're going to need to obtain residence permission upon investing this amount, you're going to have to do the same. So you go to the bank, you tell them you want to apply for the certificate. The bank will give you a form, you got to fill that form, and then they will change this money from dollars to liras and also give you the certificate for it. So you need to keep the certificate because during the appointment, they are going to need it from you to check it as proof. The second one is ISKAN. Now, after the title deed, the second most important document is your ISKAN. What ISKAN indicates is that the project has met government construction regulations, and now the project has been granted an ISKAN. So if the project has an ISKAN, that means with this ISKAN document, you can start your utilities like water and electricity, without which you cannot. So ISKAN is a very important document. During your purchase process, make sure that you talk about this document and verify if it's there. If it's not, you need to ask the developer how much time is it going to take. I have also attached the closed districts which are unsuitable for foreigners to reside and obtain a residence permission, which is in total 1,169 districts. As I mentioned, this sheet is going to show you all the lists, and next time some person or some agent has to sell you an apartment or tries to convince you to buy in a particular area, you can just check that area, the district on the sheet. If the name is there, then stay away from it. If it's not, you're good to go. So that's it for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope this video gave you immense amount of value that you were looking for. And after watching this video, you have no reason to fall victim to any kind of property investment scam here in Turkey. Please also like this video, subscribe to my channel. I've also put my website and my social media link tree in the description box for you to see. Thank you and have a great day.